And we're live! Welcome once again to Quest and Quill, Facing the Frontier. This week's episode, bittersweet. On the last episode, our party of friends journeyed through the mountains, down the hillsides, across the scorching desert, and back to the city of Tenton, where Lula, in the Silken Splendor Tavern, found her brother Oda, who was desperately seeking her aid. We last left off with him saying, Lula, I'm so glad to see you here. And explaining that they needed help on the ranch. Where I wanted to leave off, and unfortunately where I remember down today, the plan was to ask if anybody wanted to wrap anything up in Tenton. And if not, then we'd proceed on with what Lula wanted to do, which was rushed back last time I heard, if that's correct, Lula?
Yeah.
Okay, so with that being the case and the tavern and Lula and Oda talking, is there anything else that you two would like to do before we depart?
I was gonna buy a couple things, but it's nothing really important. I think John would feel that this is more urgent, so he would just stick with the party.
So you guys did arrive after dark. You're gonna at least have to spend the night, and if you want to spend the morning getting supplies and whatever, you still have a little bit of time to do whatever you need to do in Tenton. And it takes about half a day to travel to the ranch. You know, it's
I think based on the urgency, it would make sense to leave at first dawn, right?
Yeah, I mean that is logical. You guys aren't necessarily certain of the urgency, except for the fact that he's really, really glad to see Lula. He hasn't quite explained the situation, but he has explained that they are pretty desperate. You know, as soon as you can get back, having you there would make a difference. You know.
Well, Aslan doesn't need anything, so he's good to go.
Yeah. John's looking to buy then like 10 canteens, a lantern,
just like some supplies.
Yeah, like supplies.
Okay, I trust you. Minus the gold from the shop inventory at like the medium price, and anything that is like super rare, get for the high price. You know, like anything that's basic supplies. But anything that you think would be difficult to get in Tenton, maybe put it like the upper limit, basically. You get what I mean, right?
Yeah, I don't think he needs any specialized craft stuff.
Yeah, it's just basic stuff. Then the middle price is good. In that case, would everybody like to depart in the morning? There's nothing else that anybody else would like to do. You wouldn't like to talk to anyone. You wouldn't like to try and see anyone in the town. Lula, you're included in this if there's anything you need to do as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything, and I really can't, so I'm good.
Okay.
Well, I guess if it's not too late, if it's not like the middle of the night, John would probably go knock on Mr. Weejan's office door.
As you approach the door, you notice that there are two bluecoats standing outside of the offices.
John would approach them, and whoever wants to be there can be there also. John would probably let them know that he would be going to speak to Mr. Weejan.
Okay.
Lulu will be staying behind with Oda.
Okay.
Then Aslan will accompany John.
Right. right, yeah. John needs his bodyguard. So
His
yeah,
friend.
so they need that too.
All right. Then what business you got, civilian?
Hello there, sir. I'm in need of speaking with Mr. Weejan, if he's in.
You ain't heard? Mr. Ouija's not in town.
Really? He was supposed to be expecting me. He is well, I take?
And you are?
I'm John. He knows me.
And for what reason might he be expecting you, John?
We had to return to Tenton. We had to return some beast folk to their kindred. And we were just stopping by to touch base with him.
This is Ouija's business.
No, not specifically.
What business did you have with Ouija?
Well, that's for Weejan's ears. Why would I tell you?
Well, there's been some suspicious activities.
Really? Tenton?
He looks around and he looks at his other blue coat. None of your business, civilian.
John's gonna go like this, and he's gonna subtly cast a suggestion, and he would say, Now, you can tell me. I'm trustworthy.
What do I need to roll?
DC 17 wisdom save.
I forgot my dice. I feel like such a noob. I'm so sorry. Fill the dead space in the air, guys.
All right. Yeah.
That was fast.
And that happened on the roll. Oh my goodness, Oda.
I dropped it right next to the mic. I didn't even mean to do that. I'm sorry.
And by the way, so Aslan's not under the spell, but when John does this, I guess Aslan might notice that his voice sounds like different in somehow. Like it seems more soothing, like almost like drawing you in.
Okay.
It probably might make you might want to like share something with him.
I was gonna look at the blue coat's stat sheet, which is in my Word document somewhere, but I rolled a 5, so I didn't really need to. Well, there was some suspected sabotage of the railway construction. And he sort of looks around and he goes, and some folk think that he might be behind it.
Really?
And his friend sort of looks at him. The spell only is on the one, right?
Yeah, it is only on the one.
So the other one will smack him on the arm and be like, hey, we're not supposed to talk about that.
John would say, why, that's a serious accusation indeed. He would bring a hand up to touch his glasses. And he would say, well, if he stops by, just give my best regards then. Have a good evening, soldier.
Nods his head at you.
John turns around and he like gestures with his head to Aslan, and then he begins making his way back to the Silken Splendor. Actually, well, I guess we'll have to see if they have vacancy or not.
Aslan will walk with him, and he'll try to sneak a hand into John's hair, and he's gonna say, "That's really nice hair."
Wait, I'm sorry. Like as we're walking, he just brings his hand up and touches his hair and says that.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess John would like flinch at this, and he would stop walking, and then he would kind of like freeze, and he wouldn't say anything or like do anything, but he would just stand there looking at him like a deer in the headlights as he touches his head, and he says, "Thank you. he says after a while. Yes, I put a lot of work into it. You know, it's not easy looking pretty.
Yes, it's very, very cool. And then he withdraws his hand and begins to act a little bit more normal again.
John then he like would relax at this, and he would stand up straight, and he would grab the edges of his overcoat and like tug it forward and be like, "Thank you." Feeling swag, and then he would continue on walking, making his way towards the Silken Splendor. And I guess before we get there, he would look to Aslan and then say, "You know, you're quite a sight yourself, my friend."
Oh, thank you. And he looks a little bit weirded out by this. So, yeah, okay.
Do you do most members of your tribe look like you, like your same color, or are they different colors? Is there anyone green?
Green? No, never. No Leonin is green, but in my tribe we all have dark hair. Are you gonna talk to Mr. Regent?
Yeah, I guess I will. I should probably try and catch him before he goes to sleep. I just want to make sure he's okay, and he doesn't need our help after this business with the ranch, of course. Here, I guess we should probably find somewhere private. He glances left and right. Then he says, maybe now that the town's a little emptier, maybe we'll be able to find a room in the Silken Splendor. And so I guess they would finish walking towards there.
You indeed are able to greet one of the half-elven twins at the Silken Splendor, and they will actually have a room available for you within the Silken Splendor, though it is the top floor, which is just a tent. Like, the surrounding courtyard. It's one of those tented areas, but it is a rather fine room. And for the first time in a couple days, you guys are staying on, at least semi-comfortable mattresses.
Sweet. What's that
Would
going
you
to
like
run
to
me?
contact? Sorry?
What's that going to run me?
Silken Splendor night is, I think it's 8 silver or something. Don't worry, we'll account for it afterwards.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah. Are you planning on contacting Mr. Ouijan?
Yes. While we're all just relaxing in the tent, John would invite. Is it big enough to accommodate everyone?
One room is a double room. Basically, is 2 beds and like the space in between. So if it's 4 of you, then you have to like sit on the beds basically, and your knees will be touching, kind of thing.
Okay. You would have to share beds.
Yeah, you need to get 2 rooms at least.
Okay, that's fine. John would pay for 2 rooms for everyone, and he would invite Lula's sibling to spend the night if he so wishes.
Well, much obliged to you. That's mighty kind. Nice friends you got, here, Lula.
Yeah.
Any friend of Lula is a friend of mine as well.
We're more than just friends. And he sort of grabs Lula and gives a little bit of a nuggie.
Yeah.
This is my baby sister here.
Baby in your eyes. Jeez.
John warmly smiles at this and he says, "Must be nice having siblings."
To be fair, Oda's got like a good 6 inches on you. He's in height, he's taller, but you're much more muscular. He's like kind of a weed, He's got that that like lean farmer muscle where he's never bench pressed anything a day in his life, but you wouldn't want to arm wrestle him, Wire your little arms will snap you into twigs. And you felt, Lula, the belt of these arms over the course of your childhood, and he's felt the belt of your much more muscular arms as you guys were siblings.
Yep.
It's been a lovely time.
Yeah.
I think probably before you would try and contact Mr. Weegan, unless you're planning on doing it within the evening. One of the half-elven twins, the brother, will come to you and say, "Certain guest," and then nod his head and direct you guys to a private room downstairs.
What did you say initially?
You have a guest.
Oh, okay, you have a guest. Gotcha.
Sorry, I said so. There's a guest, but it was you guys have a guest. Basically, is what he's trying to say. Sorry, I think I messed up trying to get the accent right.
Guest. All of a sudden, John looks kind of serious, and then he glances to the others, and he would stand up from wherever he's sitting, and he would straighten his coat, and I guess he would say to the party, "Guys, let's be sharp. Stay sharp right now." Just because last time we had guests at the Best in the West, you know how that ended.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what happens. John takes a deep breath, and he follows the twin.
You've never asked the twins' names, so I won't give you their names, even though they have great names. And he will say, "Well, here's your room, eh?" And he'll direct you into one of these small, what seems like tunnel dog rooms. It seems that it's just a long, like straight, almost hallway, and there's a door at the other end, though you're not sure where it would lead because this is literally dug into like the dirt, you know. And it's on the south side of of like the underground courtyard that makes up the Silken Splendor. Inside, there is a single long, sort of like picnic table, wooden bench, and at the end of it is seated Kryn the Goblin, as well as a hulking figure beside him that seems to be large, hairy, long-armed. You've seen these. You might recognize it as a bugbear if you know what a bugbear is, but I don't think Lula and Aslan would recognize a bugbear. John would have seen bugbears in Baygate.
Are they
They're about as
are they prone to violence?
no, they're about the same. Like same thing. They're same as goblins. You know, they're just another group of people that immigrated across to the new continent and trying to make their way like any good hardworking folk. They're particularly good at a couple of sports because of their weirdly long arms. They get certain positions in factories and stuff.
Heard.
But no, like any of the other goblinoids or orcish things, they're just another thing. They're not. Yeah. Not the Forgotten Realms lore.
As soon as John sees that it's Kryn, he cracks up a smile and he walks over and bends down to offer his hand for a shake. "Hello, Kryn. Good evening."
Good evening, my friend. Here, and he takes your hand and he shakes your hand. And for a second, you notice his companion. As you reach out his hand, his companion's hair bristles up, and then he sees the positive response, and he sort of lowers himself down again.
Nice.
He also sees Aslan across the room as you guys walk in, and he sort of straightens his back and tries to make himself look a little bit more hulking next to Aslan. But though he is furry, his frame is not quite as large as the giant Leonin who has to crouch to get through the small doorway.
Aslan doesn't notice.
True Sigma male, just oblivious.
And then John says, "It's been a while, friends. To what do we owe the pleasure?" He says as he sits down.
Too long, yes, too long. I believe you made a little visit to our offices this evening.
That we did. I had wanted to see how the boss was doing. And when he says boss, he whispers the word.
Wait, I've got to fully go with the Kryn character. 1 year. We thought you'd be smarter than that. And he sort of gives you guys like a critical look. Give me 1 second. That wasn't a good move.
You're right. My apologies. I just wanted to make sure that he didn't need anything else, but I should have been more discreet.
No apologies. The situation is complicated. You must know that there are those who suspect the deal that we had.
And what do you want us to do from here?
Will, I noticed that you're down a few companions. Maybe it's best you stay out of town for a while, yes? And take this for now, though we still owe you some debt, Tavarish. And he slides a bag of what seems like heavy chinking gold across the table. It's a reasonable sized sack. Maybe time to lay low, yes?
Suppose we can do that, but there's still work that we must do. We can't stay inactive, but we'll do it in more isolated places, shall we say.
Just so you know, the boss is safe. He went to tunnel. He had to oversee the work by himself, you understand. Go is kind. They don't feel safe unless they're underground. Oh my god, my accent is so bad. I'm sorry, guys.
You're doing well. Yeah.
He's kind. They don't feel safe unless they're underground.
Understandable, I guess, for a dwarf.
And our old foreman, Mr. Hill, he quit and went home.
I suppose his wife did need him.
He looks at you guys. He goes, "Did you have something to do with this?"
No.
No.
I'm gonna roll, but he does not trust you guys at all with that one. Hey.
Aslan starts whistling.
Well, John says
Does not
no.
believe
He
you.
said all we did was give him a message from his wife.
Yeah.
He looks down his like pointy goblin nose at you, like gives you a little bit of a sneer. If there's anything else I can do for you, let me know. But for now, take Aiden, a round of drinks for my friends, yes. And maybe try and avoid the law, yes?
Guess we'll have to.
Yeah.
And if you see folks with crimson cloaks, go in the other direction. Not worth it.
Well, you know of that.
Do not need to tell us twice.
The less you know, the better. And he gives a look to his friend, and his friend goes, and then opens the big door, and then Kryn goes through, and the door is closed behind them, and you hear a heavy bolt being shut on the other side. And you guys are left alone in this private room. Aiden brings through another round of drinks, 3 whiskeys, and 3 ales for each of you. If there's anything else you'd like to do in the tavern, you can proceed. Well, for the night.
John, in one smooth motion, he would scoop up the bag of coin, and he would slip it into his coat, and he says, "We can split this in our rooms." And then I guess that's it. They would have dinner. John would drink of one of the would drink a beer and an ale and a whiskey.
Yeah.
And then he would go to bed.
Okay. And if there's anything else, nothing else anybody would like to do except buying the supplies, then we'll proceed to traveling the next day. Lula,
Yeah.
you've walked this path before. A few times, actually, but this is the first time in a month, at least, that you're heading in the direction of home. And as you depart the rail line of Tenton and you leave the east side, the west side of the camp, where the beast folk have made their sort of lodge side of the encampment, you start heading along the familiar rise and falls of this hilly, jutted landscape. It's not desert, but it's not, it's a wide prairie plain with shrubland and grass. And as you guys get deeper into it, the hills become more and more rolling, and eventually you start to see it dotted and pocked with small streams, and it becomes more alive the further and further away you get from this coastal steppe. But as you're traveling in this direction, what you also notice is that there are wagons heading back towards Tenton. And Lula, as you're looking at these wagons, you start to recognize the faces. These are your old neighbors, and they seem to have packed up. You see chairs and dogs, and these are not, going for resupply runs. These wagons are full of people's livelihoods, people's entire lives, packed into the back of a cart.
John doesn't pass any comments. Where's the party?
Yeah, Oda, you mind filling us in, please?
Well, I don't know what's been going on, but things ain't been so good. These folk done getting away from it.
All right, just tell us. Yeah, just tell us what you know. Start from the beginning.
Well, you're going to see, but some folk done been causing a lot of trouble.
Some folk?
I think Pa can explain it best. He said they're looking to buy the ranch.
Yeah, okay. All right. Hey guys, let's double time. I'm not feeling comfortable right now. The fact that Mr. Tar is moving away, that's not right. Let's go. Come on.
Hit it, Aslan. Oh, wait, or whoever's driving.
But yeah.
I would say at this point, how are you guys traveling? Because it's pretty likely that Havel has taken the horses with him to whatever safe house he's supposed to deposit them at, basically.
Oh, gotcha. I assumed Oda had a cart or something. How did he make it his way to town? Did he just walk?
Oda has a cart and a donkey, yes. But everybody's riding with a cart and a donkey? Okay.
Can the donkey handle that?
No.
Okay. Aslan is just walking then.
Yeah.
Shit. In that case, could John buy a horse in town?
Yes.
A riding horse?
Absolutely. There was also 300 gold in that bag.
Oh, right. Okay, so I guess he would split that between the three of us? Should Havel get paid? I guess we need to pay Saul also. We'll figure that out later. But yeah, he wants to buy an exotic saddle and a riding horse.
Okay.
If that's possible.
It absolutely is. You can, same thing, take the prices for the saddle and the horse. It's going to be the expensive end of the prices, I'm afraid.
That's fine. Yeah, he wants a saddle that's appropriate for a flying mount.
Ah.
You're not going to get that in Tenton. Because if you have a flying mount, it needs to be like, either you need a saddle that's for something specific, or it needs to be like personally crafted. There's no like dragon saddles in the frontier,
This part of the frontier? Okay.
Yeah. To be fair, you've heard of people riding flying things. You've heard of people riding rocks, and you've heard of people riding, like wyverns and stuff like that. But you've never seen this shit before in your life. This is some like cowpoke legend sort of stuff, you know.
Okay.
So John's gonna be riding his own horse, and Aslan's gonna be walking next to the cart. I'm assuming Oda's gonna be riding the cart.
Okay, you and Oda can be in the cart. Everyone's going. It's fine. Cool.
Oh no, I'm hanging off the side of Oda's side. He's driving. I'm just hanging on the side, like next to him.
Cool. Waving at all your old neighbors as you go past. Some of them are like, "Is that little Lula? Wow, little Lula! I haven't seen you in some time. Come here, sugar." And gives you a big hug,
Yeah.
You guys approach closer, and you finally arrive at the stream that Lula knows the ranch to border on. This stream is basically where the entire small community seems to be built around this one little main waterway. And as you get to the crossing, the traditional sort of entryway into the little hamlet that makes up this set of ranches, you notice that there's a construction crew working at the bottom of the little crossing, and they're building a road. And you know that the traditional crossing has always just been for folk to just walk through the river. There's a part where there's some small stones and folk get across. This is like, even the road getting here is just like a sort of a dirt path worn by foot traffic, This is infrastructure being put in. There's like a group of like 10, 15 men hauling rocks and mixing gravel and the world's equivalent of concrete, and putting stakes into the ground. There's a whole site up here.
Nah, this ain't
like
right. This ain't right.
It's like the air is growing fast. What's going on? They find gold out here or something?
I doubt that, but this smells like trouble brewing. I'm not liking the look of this. That explains some of it. But let's wait back. Let's just get back to the ranch.
They're just building things. What's so bad about that?
This land, this place is ours. We survived with the land for all this time, and then these builders just come here and decide to ruin this wonderful road, and then next thing you know, everything's different, and then next thing you know, people want to take over our farmland. Nah.
You would tell them, Lula.
Aslan scratches his mane and he says, "But isn't that what you did to the beast people?"
You see now, Aslan, you may have a point right there. So let's just get back to the ranch before anything else happens. Let's say.
Okay.
Finally, you guys cross the stream and head past what Lula knows to be the surrounding, the neighbors. And when I say neighbors, every neighbor here is, parted by a couple of miles, a couple of kilometers of space between each little house. This is a hamlet in the loosest sense of the word. There's one small collection of buildings which makes up a hamlet store, a general store, and a small country club. But that's basically like it. There's not that much else. There's a farrier, there's a country club, there's a stable, there's a general store. That's like the whole town, effectively. And it's so small, nobody really has a name for it. It's not even on a map. This is just the sort of small community that Lula, you grew up with. And as you start approaching towards where the ranch is, your neighbors, to be the hares, their maize fields are completely burnt. And this is not end of year furrow burning to re-sow the ash. This is a freshly sown field that has just been torched.
Odor?
Well, that can't be good.
I told you, things ain't been going so good around here.
God damn it! Oh,
Who's causing all this? Guess we're about to find out.
Pa
We
says
bet.
it's these strange folk, but I don't know. I don't understand the halves of it.
Sounds like y'all need some muscle.
To me, Odo was supposed to just be like a Forrest Gump sounding kind of character, but I think it's getting too bad where it sounds like maybe Lula hit him in the head too many times as a kid, you know?
No, I think it's fine. You're doing good, man.
He's just supposed to be a bit of a country bumpkin. He's not supposed to be totally stupid. You guys make your way back to the ranch. Sorry, Lula.
Yeah, so I was just saying, I would categorize his way of speaking of as someone who's used to the farm life, doesn't need to speak, doesn't need to articulate his words that much. So, just kind of relax, kind of like, hey.
Yeah. The animals don't care.
You understand what I is saying. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
They ain't no need for no fancy words. You guys make your way back to Lula's little slice of heaven, the place where she grew up. And you walk along the familiar path next to the small pond. And the first thing that you notice about the pond is a bunch of flies and what looks like a skinker body just lying on the edge of the water. And that doesn't bode well. You cross between the two traditional poles that lead you onto the ranch, and they have a cow skull on one side, a skinker skull on the other side, and eventually you make your way to the small little collection of buildings. There's a barn over there, a chicken coop, a main house, then like a secondary house, then a little scullery built on the side of it, and the sort of mismatched collection of houses that makes up Lula's home. If you'd like to describe anything about this, Latunda, you're very welcome to take over at any point. Any of the details that you want to add in?
No. I think that
It's a
description
good
is
old
good enough.
farmstead.
The good old farmstead.
The property, does it have like an outer fence perimeter? Anything like that?
So, like many of the areas that you've crossed today, it seems that there's some sort of like boundary line that seems to be between all of the different neighbors' properties. But for the most part, the boundary line is set by a line of trees or the outline of a field, or
Right.
there's like a burn line or something like that. It's not fenced off. It's not
So it's not.
yeah, there's no I've sort of based this on the time. I've sort of based this on the time between when the rail lines were being built in the Wild West and barbed wire was introduced, because it's the most interesting time, really. And as you approach closer to the area, there is like the fenced-in place where you guys keep the sheep inside, but same thing. That's a fence for animals. It's more like a paddock fence. It's not it's not like a proper fencing an area for the whole property, and it's specifically around the house and the barn where the skinkers are.
Okay.
As you approach the main house of the farmstead, the door swings open, and a very excited Pa goes, "Lula, is that you? Oh, sweet dog!" And he just starts charging across the thing and like slips in the mud a little bit, swings open the gate, and just charges, bear hugs you with all of his might. Pa, you guys notice this tall human with like tan, dark skin, dark hair that seems to be receding like halfway up his head. A little bit paunchy, but paunchy in the way where he clearly does a lot of physical labor. it's just age and muscle and like a bit of a dad belly sort of thing. And he gives Lula the biggest bear hug and just picks her up and shakes her around. Very, very excited to see her and happy and just, oh, my baby, my sweet child.
Oh, Pa, it's so good to see you. Oh, I'm so glad you're all right. Oh, my goodness. Oh.
What are you doing here, baby?
Well, Oda found me in Tenton and told me to come back because he said things are wrong, something's afoot. And based on what I've seen, people leaving, construction, and fucking Hunter, sorry about Hunter in the river all dead. Yeah, something is afoot.
Well, you said it. Something's definitely not right. That's for sure. Please, who are your friends?
Oh, sorry, Pa. Pa, these are my. Pa, don't you remember them? We met them when we went when we went to Tenton. We met before. This is John and this is Aslan.
Well, I'll be damned if it ain't the same. Mr. Morello, ain't it?
That's right.
And he reaches out his hand, shakes your hand with a very firm, almost a little bit too firm, as if he's suspicious of what this strange green-haired man is doing with his daughter.
John definitely wince, and his hand just folds like jelly underneath this man's grip, and he's like smiling, but there's he's definitely struggling to keep a straight face.
And
Hello,
then
Bob. It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to see you again too. And then he goes to Aslan, and he once again looks up to Aslan and goes, well, Mr. Aslan, how could I forget you? And he takes your hand, and firm but not too firm, gives it a nice shake, you know.
Nods and shakes back.
Please, y'all should come inside and get some tea. It's late. He looks at the sky. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon. You know, it's late afternoon. The midday sun is beaten, but you guys have had a hard travel, and you all are rather weary and very dusty from the road.
Thank you, sir.
I wish I was inviting you in under better circumstances, but I'm afraid this is the hospitality we got for now. Please make yourself welcome.
Oh, hang on. I got something to give you. Whole reason why Soul and I left in the first place may not be much, but there's a while I managed to scrounge her up whilst adventuring. And she gives Pa a little pouch of gold coins, and inside that pouch is 84 gold coins.
84 GP, gotcha.
Yeah. May not be much, and it may not really make things better, but to start.
He like takes it. He goes, Lula, I don't know. I can just come inside, baby. Just he sort of like unsure what to do. He just sort of puts it in his pocket a little bit awkwardly. Says, I wish this will be able to get us out of the situation we in.
It will. Once we figure it out, this gold coin will be able to get the farm back, get the ranch back on its feet. But yeah, let's go inside.
But by the sound of it, sounds like we'll need more than just coin to persuade these men to leave you alone.
You don't know the half of it.
I'm sure you'll tell us. Hopefully, maybe there's something we can do.
He brings you inside. Sorry, no worries. He brings you inside to the house that Lula grew up in. It's not small, but it's still humble. You know, there's seems that everything has been repaired, patched over, had a third paint job. It's the sort of big farmhouse that only exists because all the space is utilized, you know. And well, it definitely is a large space, and you notice that this is well lived in. You know, that's the best way to describe what I'm trying to say. It's very lived in. It feels very empty. And for the first time for Lula ever entering the home, the kitchen, the scullery, the dining area, the main like mud room where you take off your shoes, and everybody's told to take off their shoes because it's a farmhouse. There's dead silence, and for the years that Lula spent growing up here, there has never been silence in this household.
Oh. Oh, where's everyone?
I'm sorry to say this, Lula. Well, Ma took most of the little ones in Salvation. They headed out with some neighbors to go and be safe. They're just outside of Tenton now.
This is bad. This is real bad. The fact that it's not right.
Now, baby, he like puts a soothing hand on Lula's back and says, "It's all right. Everything will be okay. We just me and some of the folks decided that may be best to get the women and children folk out."
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's just weird. It's not the same without Ma, without Sauvage, without. Oh my God.
You don't even know the half of it. We added even more to the family since you been gone.
Man,
You got little siblings you ain't even met yet.
God. Even here. Anyway.
What of Grendel? Forgive my interruption. But did Mr. Grendel and his family ever make it here?
He looks at you as, not to my knowledge.
Shouldn't they have been here by now? He says, looking to Aslan and Lula.
I mean, maybe he got lost along the way. Maybe he had a hiccup. I'm hoping that's the case. I really do.
Same. It says contact him later. But please, continue.
Well, it's he scratches his head. It's a bit of a strange story, really. I don't even. I guess it started about 2 weeks ago or so. These folks, they done showed up to the ranch, and they offered me, he looks at Lula, pretty penny, take our home off of our hands. And, hindsight being all that it is, I'm sort of wishing we'd taken the money by now. But I'm getting ahead of myself. And with that, I think we're going to cut to break quickly. Because that's a pretty dramatic pause, right? Ending on the story. Give me a second to rehearse the lines in my head, make sure I got my story straight.
Hey.
See you guys in just a second. And we're back. Where we last left off, Pa was telling the story of the strange folk that have been causing so much trouble. I guess it started about 2 weeks ago then. These folks, one city slicker fella wearing some handy dandy fruity duty suit came along talking about investment opportunities and the like. I wasn't listening to much of him, I'll be honest with you. Said he was from the property investment group, some city company I don't know about. They came in offering everybody the same thing, 1,000 gold and leave by the morning. From what I hear, them's what took it of the clever ones. Came back 2 days later. Sorry.
They must have
They
known what
came
was
back.
coming.
Well, apparently they did. Came back 2 days later offering half. 500 gold. Same terms. About half of them left then. Not long after that, they burnt down the Harris farm. Bunch of skinkers done died. They ain't got here yet, but they ain't far off either. We've been taking shifts watching the barn, and seems most of the water sources done being tampered with. Someone, we know who it was. It was a dead horse put in the stream. They put that skinker in the pond. So far, the only water that's still good is the well, and we've been keeping an eye on that. Communities try to come together, but we're so far apart, it's hard to watch each other's back. We're one of the last left at this point.
Men. Are they many?
Bastards! They're just trying to flush you guys out.
He looks at John. Many of them? Well, so far I only seen two. Little wiry, I don't know what he is, some halfling dwarf fella, small little man in his nice suit, and his bigger friend. Man, but this human big. Mean looking too. Like he spent all his life on rough roads, if you catch my meaning.
Yeah. Lula, what do you want to do?
Goddamn city folk! I'll ruin everything. God damn it!
Seems most of the focus is being on the Kit Ranch. Lula, you know the old Kit family.
Yeah, Pa, I do know, but excuse my language, Pa. City folks gotta. I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that, but.
Honey, it's all right. I agree with you, but
The Kit family.
we still worship Pelor in this house. Keep a civil tongue at my table, sweetheart.
Sorry, Pop. Sorry, Pop.
The kids, are they holding out like you are?
They've been driven off. I heard the same folk came by their house with a bunch of friends and gave them a once in a lifetime opportunity, once in a lifetime offer, if you catch my meaning.
Pa, I know this is a bit of a stretch, Pa, but couldn't you ask your friends, your old crew, to help you out? I know it's a bit of a stretch, Pa, but
Lula, you know it's been a while since I left that behind. And we ain't out here looking for any trouble. We're just honest folk. We just want to live our honest life. It's these folk that seem to be causing the issues.
You're right, Pa. That might have complicated things if they did come here in the first place. Yep.
Boom, 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 boom.
I connected to my phone.
Okay. That just would have brought further complications. Just made things harder.
Don't get me wrong, Lula. I put my feelers out, but we try to pursue legal means. About a week ago, we went and petitioned the sergeant over in Tenton. He was going to do something about it, but you know the bluecoats.
well, I guess that means we gotta take the law into our own hands. If they try any more devious shenanigans, I guess it's up to us to push them away. And if they don't want to get pushed, put them down. Same right.
I'm not trying to murder anyone, but I do think some self-defense here is in order. For certain.
I 100% agree with you, John. But if they decide to swing first, we swing back just as hard.
I'm with you there.
Now listen, I don't want to put any of y'all in danger. And I definitely don't want to go around making ruckus or killing folk. That's not my... He looks at Lula again, Cersei. It's not our way. But I'm afraid for what's happening at the moment. And I'm afraid if this property investment group doesn't get their claws in our little community, that it ain't going to exist for much longer.
Then I guess it's time to solve things the Wildlands way.
People chuckle. How exactly would that be, Mr. Aslan?
Well, let's just say when any tribe threatened the Bloodfangs, there wasn't much left afterwards to threaten.
Please.
Sorry, this is not Paul laughing. This is Nick laughing. Composure.
Well, look, even amongst the colonists, if someone shoots at you by law, you're entitled to shoot back. So, once it comes to that, I think we should just stick around and keep an eye out on things. And once we catch them in the act, we'll do what needs to be done. But we should still give them the chance to walk away, if possible. At least, in my opinion.
I just wish I knew why they was here. They ain't no... These ain't no farmers I ever seen.
Well, sounds like they're developers. The only way to dissuade them would to make it too expensive to try and acquire your land.
Developers?
Yeah,
as in cultists? Like,
no.
Like they worship the devil?
Oh no.
No, they worship money.
Damn right, that's what I've seen.
Indeed. So we just got to make it more trouble than it's worth. But if we take things into our own hands and use force where it isn't warranted, they could bring the law to bear upon us. They probably got more sway with the blue coats than we'll ever have if they are a legitimate business.
Well,
what if we hide our identities?
Well, Mr. Aslan, how do you plan on disguising your 7'2" self?
He looks at himself and he's like, maybe John can do his magics. Turn me into a mermaid man or something.
The only thing more out of place in the small community.
Mermaid man. What kind of books have you been reading? John chuckles. I wish I could do such a thing, but can't say my powers really work like that. I got some makeup though I could put on us, but I don't think I could ever make it good enough to pass as a whole other person. I don't know. Not all the time, at least. But yeah, maybe I might have to do something about my hair. Though honestly,
tracks in appearance.
So I
You
really
stand out from a mile away. What it says.
John says, but look, the way I see it, things are gonna start getting out of control soon enough. In due time, the law really won't be thinking about us either way, because we know chaos is brewing with the invaders and all that. But for now, I think we should just try and relax. Do you have any good vantage point here on the ranch? Somewhere we could stay as a lookout?
Well, I mean, Lula knows all the best spots.
Yep. Me and Odin.
One of them's on top of the sheep shed where you and Soul hid in your guys' pre-game sessions. But besides that, well, what are the other ones, Lula?
I mean, the sheep shed is personal favorite of mine. But if you want a more relaxed approach, you can go to the upstairs balcony and get a good enough view of the front of the property, but behind you it's going to be kind of blocked. So if you're nimble enough, sorry, Pa, you can climb onto the roof and you get a whole area view of the whole area.
Maybe we should.
You really think we didn't know you and Avelina was climbing up there? You think we're stupid?
I know, not stupid, Pa. I just thought I was being light-footed.
Girl, he just like sort of looks at you. He goes, "You about as light-footed as a rhinoceros."
Pa?
You ain't no ballet dancer, sweetie. Sorry, you ain't in no ballet, sweetie.
Lula's just stunned, like, wow. What, John?
Look, Lula, you're graceful in your own.
Was that bad?
Well, anyways, I was thinking we should probably set up some lampposts around the property. Hard to keep an eye on things if you can't see anything. But if you set up lampposts, it should be pretty easy to spot if someone's intruding in the middle of the night. I imagine that's what they're going to try for next. If they're looking to escalate things. Nothing like a nighttime raid.
That might be a good idea. I mean, no offense to you city folk, but out here, the stars light up the ground pretty good, except when it's on a new moon.
Yeah. But even under starlight, you can only see so far, right? How many lanterns do you guys have? Do you have many spares? I'm gonna need a good amount and oil to go with it.
Lands we got, the oil's more of the issue.
Do you know where we could maybe acquire some? Perhaps in some of the abandoned properties of one of your neighbors?
Now, I think folk mostly done took what they had, but if you go to the general store, they might be selling something. I guess that could, and he grabs the pouch that Lula handed to him and like hands it back to Lula in the most like hurried fashion, you know. I guess that could be a use for this.
No, Pa, it's fine. Lula gives it back to him. I saved some for myself for adventuring purposes. This is just purely for you and the bomb, the ranch.
Lula. He sort of looks at you like in quiet ashamedness and then hands the pouch to Oda, who puts it in his pocket.
John would say, "Now, sir, you know Lula better than I do, but even I understand that she's happy to help. Should let her have this. It's okay. There's no need to feel ashamed.
You're wiser than you look, Mr. Morello, but you understand this is Daddy's little girl. It's a bit tough for me.
Of course. I know a thing or two about pride.
He gives you a certain look, and he sort of. Now, y'all want to set up a watch? I can try and get the ladder to make it easy to get on the roof.
Sure. I can take care of it. Because of my father's side of things, I see half decent in the dark. At least to a certain distance.
You got some of that. What is it? Fae, elf kin.
Yeah. Mom said my dad was an elf. She can't remember his name though.
He gives you a look. It's pity, but he's trying to not be rude.
Sure.
And then John senses like this slightly awkward moment, and then he cracks a smile, and then he like pulls at the edges of his overcoat, and he says, "It's all right. That's where I get my fancy side from." And then he tugs at his clothes, and so he says, this general store, where is it? Is it still open?"
Lula can show you there. It's down by the main road.
Shall we, Lula, or shall we wait for supper first?
Let's go to the general store now. Get what we need, and then spend the rest of the day. Spend the rest of the afternoon getting prepared for the night.
Sounds good.
I mean, it's a bit of a walk. Y'all want some skinkers?
Those big lizards?
Lula, you still know how to ride, right?
Oh, you don't need to tell. You don't need to ask me, Pa. I still got it.
Like sitting in the saddle.
Horse. I bought a horse with me. I think I'll stick with that. He laughs nervously.
Well, he looks at Aslan up and down. I mean, your friend's gonna need his own. You know how to ride, Mr. Aslan?
Never tried, but maybe shouldn't I stay here in case they come? You know, protection.
Well, if you think they're fine to go just the two of them.
Aslan, I think they would be smart enough to wait for a nighttime to try anything. I think we have time still, don't we? It's still daylight out, no?
Yeah. Well, it will take you about half of an hour to get to the main street. You guys passed off. It's a decent walk from the main road. It took you about 40 minutes, 45 minutes to get from the main road to the ranch.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
If Aslan would like to ride the skinker, I'm going to need an animal handling check. Lula, you are experienced with riding skinkers. Are you proficient in animal handling? Yes, right?
Proficient in animal handling. Open the damn browse, man. Animal handling. Huh.
I think there's only one.
Will's
You're
like,
not
if
proficient in it?
they get a little finicky, just
No.
give them a punch in the head.
Okay. Well, I was about to let you roll with advantage, but because you're not proficient, you can just give me a straight roll.
You know, one thing I learned about handling animals is just you gotta play it by ear and by feeling and by luck.
And Aslan, are you going to try and ride the skinker?
Can I cast a ritual first?
10-minute ritual?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we have time for that.
But
Thank
what
you.
what if it doesn't like me?
That's hard to do. Aslan,
Aslan,
Okay.
you don't
You're
got
like
quite
the
right
person.
thing.
Just give him some food or something.
Oh,
You don't want any food in your hands around these bastards.
he
Maybe
nods
don't.
and he tries to climb the skinker. He got a 13 on animal handling.
13 on animal handling.
Yeah.
As you guys are approaching this open paddock where the skinkers are, right, you notice these larger than Komodo dragon size lizards. They are at least twice as long as a horse, excluding the tail. But their bodies seem to be bulky and more flat. You know, they're not quite as tall as a horse. Almost rectangular in their form. And as you approach, you hear this horrendous. And if you guys would like to make the same noise with me, it's like a bunch of them inside this paddock, and they're all hissing at each other and squealing at each other. And occasionally you guys hear. And occasionally you guys hear like their tails, will flap against each other. You just hear this like, flapping as one of them will like turn around and hit the others with their tails. These are pretty nasty creatures,
Okay.
And as you approach, John will just get back on his horse.
Yeah.
Lula will walk in the way that she usually does. And Aslan, I'm going to let you stick with that 13, but you tell me how you do it, and then maybe I'll decide what happens.
I guess
How would you like to get on the skinker? Because so you see how Lula mounts up, right? In the traditional way to do it, she grabs one of the blankets because these are farm people. They don't ride with saddles. It's not like an everyday thing. Just chuck a blanket on the top of the thing. Get comfy, get seated, put a bridle in the mouth. That's as far as you need to go. And the bridle is also as simple as just a bit and a long piece of rope that seems to circle around it. A long loop of rope. Yep.
Before I continue, for my animal handling, I rolled a 7. So as Aslan is watching me getting onto the skinker, it's a mess. It's just horrible.
Well, he's just watching you. He's just watching you dress the skinker for now. There is some going on in the background as you approach. One of them tries to like whip the tail a little bit. But Aslan, please describe how you get onto the skinker.
I mean, he's just gonna like go towards the side of the skinker while raising a hand towards him and walking slowly, and then he's gonna try to climb from the side.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You get on. The creature hisses, flays a little bit in disdain, and then seems to be oddly comfortable with you sitting on top of it. Lula, on the other hand, gets on top almost in the same fashion. But for whatever reason, this particular lizard isn't having it that day and stands on its back legs, shaking wildly, and tries to throw Lula at least a couple times, spinning its head. There is gnashing of teeth, and there is much hissing, and it takes you a little bit of time. You guys waste about 15 minutes before you can get these things ready and going. And as you're ready and going, John notices that they are making hissing noises and snapping at the back of his horse. And he probably only finds it comfortable riding at the back behind the skinkers when their noses are not pointed directly at this big lump of flesh right in front of their face.
I'll cover the rear, guys.
You know what? That would be wise.
But from there, you're able to make it to general store and to this main road. Like I said, on the main road, there is a country club, which is literally like one long barn-looking building that has a couple of like trellis tables in it. There's a general store, which seems to look like it's 2 old wagons, not wagons, sorry, carriages, like like wooden covered carriages that have been taken off of their wheels, laid on the ground, and then had like a wooden structure built between them. So it's almost like one long container building, you know. And the other buildings on the street seem to just be small buildings. There seems to be one that's some sort of like tailor workshop, and there's, you know, one that's some sort of community storage. And at the far end of this, there's a little church. You know, it's a little hamlet road. There's not much on it, but you guys are able to make your way to the general store, where you find it open. And at these two carriages, there is a man that Lula recognizes very well. Would you like to describe it, or should I make up this one?
You should make up this one.
God damn it! Do you have a name for me? You see this dwarven, old dwarven woman. She seems to have braids that just her entire hair is just a mess of braids that seem to flow along past her waist, and also the thinner hair on her face is done into small little braids that sort of match it. That gives her a rather fine, made-up appearance in this country style. She wears simple clothing, but you notice a nice ring. You notice that she has a new shawl on, that's not so eaten up or moth-worn and dusty as the rest of the place. Seems business is going reasonably well. And she greets you and she goes, "Well, if it isn't little Lula, how nice to see you, love." Do you have the name?
Belinda! Oh my word, it's been so long!
Oh, it's been so long. How have you been, sweet? You haven't seen you in well over a moon. She comes and gives you like a sweet little hug around your waist.
Oh no, I've been great. I've seen the world. Like I went to Tenton, and then went to the swamp, the Delta, and then went to Delta. Oh man, oh, Belinda, these are my friends. This is Aslan. This is John.
Well, Mr. Don, Mr. Aslan, it's so nice to meet you. She puts out her hand.
As she brings her hand to shake John's, he would scoop it into his and then bend over to kiss it. Enchanted.
You have to bend quite far. She's a little old dwarf lady, and her posture doesn't help. You know, she's all hunched over this. Oh, how sweet! And Mr. Aslan.
Hello.
Well, hello there, big fella.
So, tell her, Lula. Tell her what we need.
Oh yeah. We need lanterns, and no, we need oil for the lanterns that we want to put around the ranch for these hooligans that are causing us trouble. Do you have any in stock?
We're looking for something like.
Sorry.
Something like what was that, little man? I'm a little like hard of hearing.
Like a cask of lantern oil.
Whole cask you be after? I'll be honest with you though, the supplies are not as they're running rather low. But you know what? For you, little Lola, I'll get from my private stock. And she goes in the back, and she seems to go into her own home and pull out what seems to be a untapped thing of lantern oil. This is my second spare, but it's all yours, sweet. And what else was it you'd be having?
I think that's it, unless I'm missing something, John.
Do you have a saddle that could work on a flying mount?
What a strange request.
It's a strange
How
time.
many friends you found yourself here?
They may be a bit weird there, Belinda, but so far they're the best.
It's I know it sounds like nonsense, but it's for a good reason. I'm not yanking your leg, my good woman.
Well, you wouldn't get very far now, would you? I don't have very long legs, now do I?
Such it is.
Now, Lola, have you heard of the ruckus around town?
I mean, that's why I'm back here. Oda found us in Tenton, and hopefully we'll be able to put a stop to it, or at least make them go away.
Now, you're going to look after yourself now, sweetie. And then she looks at the two men alongside Lula, specifically at Aslan. You're going to look after my little Lula here, aren't you?
Of course we will. Just like she has been looking after us as well. We've got each other's back, rest assured.
By Pelor, I hope you will.
We're in this together.
Mm-hmm.
Belinda, these guys have saved my life. Have saved my life so many times. Don't worry about it.
Right back at you. And then John gives a soft punch in her arm.
Lula reciprocates. I don't say that word.
John would punch, be like, "Oh."
Well, will there be anything else you'd be needing then?
I think that's it for now. Nothing else comes to mind to me, at least.
Belinda, do you have before we go? John, I'll pay for this. Any tips? Any bit of news? You know about these fine gentlemen that came into town?
These
Came into the
pigs.
community?
Well, from what I heard, they came in flashing around a bit cash-like. And from what it seems to me, all of the craziness that started around here started when they came around, you know. You know, Mr. O'Hare had his prize bull.
Excuse me, I believe now. Sorry, what? Mr. Hit?
Mr. O'Hare, Mr. Hare, yeah, he had his prize bull, that skinker with the great patch on its side. He said it was half Esmeralda.
I remember that. I remember.
Creature went crazy. Murdered half of the females. Barged through the house. Like nothing I ever seen. Skinkers are nasty bastards, but they're not crazy creatures. They have a sense of self-preservation, you know.
Did they do?
Sounds like foul play to me.
Very much.
But what kind of foul play would make a creature do that?
Well, there are people that are capable of influencing others through, like, I don't know, magic stuff.
She gives you guys like a strange look. Lula, I hope you haven't fallen into the wrong crowd now, have you?
Belinda, these guys have been stopping me from falling into the wrong crowd. These guys are great. They may seem a bit eccentric, but they're good people at heart.
And
We're on the
Tell me,
right
sweet.
way here.
and tell me, sweet, which one is going to be your husband?
John looks to Aslan.
Husband?
We're not really intimate like that, but we are good friends.
Oh, okay. Well,
Not that I wouldn't.
Oh,
Lulu,
dear.
It's just the circumstances are they're not really appropriate to homemaking. I'm sure you understand. You're a pretty girl, and someday, maybe we
right,
can
she is.
we can have that conversation. But for now, I think we should put that in a box.
Excuse me.
You can do this June's shoulders just like sagging ever so slightly. I'm laughing, John.
Gotcha.
Ugh.
My apologies. I didn't mean to be so rude. You notice that she's blushing a little bit.
He pats John's back.
Oh, gee.
It was rather presumptuous of me, Lula. My apologies.
It says, usually I just get a drink spilled on me.
Belinda, that's disgusting. Ew.
It's just you're such a pretty girl. No. And I really want to invite to the wedding, Lula. I hope you don't forget about us back home.
Belinda, not pretty. Not pretty. What is pretty? No. Ew. No. I'm a fighter.
My sweet. And she starts like stroking Lula's thigh because that's the only thing she can really reach. She's like, you're gorgeous, my sweet. Gorgeous, darling.
No, I'm fierce. I'm Lula Knucklehead. Ew. No. Oh, God. Oh.
You would make a great mother. Don't you think?
Nah. No.
Okay. Yeah. I won't. I'll drop it.
Sorry, John. It's just there's only one mother that's good enough in my life, and she's away, thankfully. And from what I've experienced, it's hard to be a mother, apparently. So let's keep it at that.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay, Lula.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring it up. Can I offer y'all some sweeties? Y'all want some sweeties? Can I offer y'all some sweeties?
Sure.
I got some honey lemon drops. They're my favorite. One of a kind, only made here.
Thank you.
Yes, please, Belinda.
What is that?
This one.
How does she offer them? Are they like in a jar or something?
So okay, so there's literally a jar, and she takes like what seems like a bit of brown paper, and it's almost like a napkin texture paper, right? And wraps these like a handful of these sweeties in this brown thing, and then with the same end of paper grabs one and drops one in each of your hands. And as you look at it, it's the little shape of a lemon. And as it's put into your hand, it immediately starts to like melt and get sticky on your palm. You can feel it. And Lula knows this. You gotta like chuck that thing into your mouth immediately, or you gotta enjoy the stickiness because it will be sticky for the next hour.
The guy's baby is fast.
Quite good. Gushy.
This
And
one
honey.
here has been enjoying these since I think before she could even talk.
I mean, reminds me of happier times there, Belinda. No.
Wow, you really
Glad
grew
to
up in this
hear.
place, huh?
Sorry?
You really grew up in this place, huh? Here at the ranch?
Yeah.
Since before you were little?
One of the best things that happened to me growing up here,
I'll say.
which is why it's very important that we protect the ranch with everything we've got. It's the only thing I have left.
Let's do it.
As Aslan is chewing the candy along with the paper wrapping, he says, yeah, I mean, this place is great. You definitely must protect.
So effectively what this piece of candy is, and I actually know this Wild West recipe, don't ask me why I know this, but it is honey and lemon rind and molasses. It is sickly sweet and like sour at the same time. So it makes your mouth like just melt and like gush with the sweetness, but then also is burning the edges of your side. It is deliciously painful.
Yeah, so I guess we say our farewells and make our way back to the ranch with a cask of oil. Did we have to pay for it? Did she give it free of charge?
She'll give it to you guys for like the cost price, which is the medium price for a cask of oil, and I think Lula paid for it, so we'll just deal with it.
I forget what the. Oh, okay.
Just accounting. I always have to go and look at the prices in the thing, but it's the same one that I put in the Discord. Let's just keep to that. Write it down. We'll do the accounting at the end of the session. I trust you guys.
All right.
You make your way back to the ranch. Pa has already started everything for the evening watch. There's a fire blazing, and it seems that he's cooking a whole chicken, just rotating over the fire, ready for you guys. Lula, you look at this, and this is oddly reminiscent of the days when Ma was sick, or Ma was busy with other things, either in the community or like when she once had to travel for her sister or something, and Pa was left to cook for all of the kids. I didn't know what else to cook, so he just barbecued some meat on the fire. It seems to be oddly reminiscent, and it seems that you guys are living currently in the caveman times of no Ma being civilized at the ranch. No cornbread today, no biscuits. But the chicken's delicious. It's a little bit spicy. Sorry, you want to say something? You froze for a second. I don't know if it's your internet or what. You right there? Hello. Lula. It's not a bad face to pull some of these. Okay, anyway, I'll finish describing. Yeah. We'll let your internet catch up. The chicken is slightly spicy and delicious. Num 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 num. And you guys are able to prepare for the evening. The ladder has been brought out. The skinkers have been rounded up into the barn. The main place of worry is the well. Excuse me. And there seems to be a fire already next to the well, because this is the place that they've been expecting something to happen. I will send the Albay Rodeo link, though I don't think anything will. I'm not sending it in preparation of combat or anything like that. I just want to show you guys the area so you can understand where the well is and where the sheep shed is in relation to everything. That makes sense.
Sweet. Yeah, help us strategize.
Exactly. Lula, you know this area already. This is the same place as your pre-sessions. I'm going to put it in the general. And you guys can proceed. What would you like to do? What would you like to plan for your setup? And what is the intention for the evening?
All right. Okay, I'm back on green. That's good. Okay. Intention for the evening is to protect that well with extreme prejudice. So, I'm assuming John is going to be up for majority of the night, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
John would ask if maybe we should close off the well for the evening.
Well, Mr. Morello, all we got is like some planks. There's not much more we can do than just cover it up.
Covering it up might be good enough. It's just that we've come across people that were invisible before. So at least this way, we would notice if they were trying to get into it. They couldn't just drop someone into the well without us noticing in the middle of the night.
There's some sort of magic.
Yeah, I think it was. They had a mage with
I'll
them.
be damned.
Hey, Pop.
That's the least of the things we've been through.
Hey, Pop. Ow. You left to go fetch some milk.
He just died. Like everything just died for just a second. It immediately came back, but everything crashed. My computer. Very weird.
Hey,
like,
Pop, do you have my old shield by any chance?
What? Again?
Do you have my old shield by any chance? First one I ever made? Or at least tried to?
Your old shield, Lula? Do you mean the pot lid or You mean the pot lid or the barrel top?
Wow. Either or.
You mean to cover up the whale with it?
Yeah.
But damn, I mean, Mao actually keeps that old that old top around. Oda, you go find where Ma keeps that thing. Oda's like, I got you, Pop. And then he goes off and like you hear him banging and going in the kitchen. And then he brings out what literally looks like the top of a barrel. You know, it's like it's a set of planks made into one round piece of wood. And there is literally just a piece, like a branch that's bent into the shape of a handle, just bolted to this thing. It looks like Lula did like a slapdash job on it, you know. And Oda brings and slams it down on the table, and he looks at you and he goes, Ma been using it to press tortillas.
I can't believe you did that. This is my first shield. It's supposed to be used in combat, not making food.
Can you guys give me 1 second and just fill the dead air with some role play or something? I'll be right back. Sorry.
Okay.
Alright. Despite my shield being disrespected by Ma, not really. So I'm thinking we use my shield as the well cover, at the very least. Something a little more sturdy than some planks. So back to what I was saying. If John, you're gonna be up most of the night, I'm gonna be joining you majority of the time. I would like Aslan to be sleeping. Whereas like halfway through the night or closer to morning, I'm gonna wake him up, and he will be he'll take over from me. Oda, the last time something happened on the ranch, you were dead asleep and he did nothing, so you're staying up the whole night. Got it?
That all sounds like a good idea. If I might also suggest, I was thinking that we could hang up the lamps or set up lamp posts on each corner of each of the houses here for a total of 12. That way, at least the houses are lit up, and perhaps we should set one over the well as well, so we can see it well from anywhere on the within the ranch. We should probably also set up some lights over by your fields to make sure that no one sneaks up on them to burn them.
Well, okay. Oda and I can set up the lanterns on the corners. I do have one glow stick at the very least to put in the fields.
I think the fields are too big. It's not gonna light up enough of it. Just be a small part. We might have to set up lanterns on each corners of the field as well. So I guess we want to make sure that they're not at risk of falling over and burning the fields themselves.
Mark comes back to the table and he drops what seems like a small wooden box. He says, "This ain't much, Lula, but I hope it could help somewhat." And then he opens it up, and it's a bunch of shells and bullets and a small pouch of black powder. And there's a stick of dynamite in there. And as you pull more and more stuff out of here, you start looking at Paul like, Lula, I saw that you said
I thought
something.
You said you were.
Just repeat yourself, because I saw that you said something and your internet screwed you over. Sorry.
Wait, like just now?
Yeah, like what you just said.
Oh, sorry. Paul, why do you have all this? I thought you were out of the group. Why? So the heck?
What group? John asks, glancing between them.
Lula, you ain't never been one for subtlety, have you?
I think I've been pretty subtle. I do say myself.
We ain't part of no group, He looks at John very seriously, like when he says this, we ain't part of no group. And Lula, these are just presents left for us by the guests that we do have.
Say no more.
The guess. The guess. Lula realizes she she said too much. Oh, yeah, the guess. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
I guess I only have one question.
What's that, Mr. Aslan?
And he picks up a hand axe from his waist, and first he shows a sharp end, and he's like, "Am I killing?" And then he flips the hand axe, and he has, or bonking.
Oh, I would say spare them if you can. Kill them if you can't.
Indeed. If they try anything funny with you, sure. Funny as in like try to kill you, slash. Otherwise, bonk.
Okay.
Well, I think we need at least one alive, so we can figure out who they're working for.
All right. So let's go over the plan again. John's going to be staying at majority of the night. I'm going to be joining him for majority of the night on the first watch. Aslan's going to be sleeping up until he takes over from me. Oda's going to be up the entire time because he was a sleepy son of a gun last time. The ranch had problems, and Sol and I had to deal with it. So Oda's going to be up the whole time.
Lula, that's not fair.
It's totally fair. The things
I
seen,
wasn't sleepy. You was out playing with guns. I was doing my chores like I was supposed to.
Yeah, you were supposed to also help protect the ranch, something that Sol and I did. Look, I'm not saying you didn't do anything. I am saying you didn't help out. So yeah,
now, children. Now, children. You ain't little kiddies no more. There ain't no need for squabbling.
Okay. When I go to bed, you go to bed too. And
sorry.
And when I wake Aslan up, he'll be able to, his manpower will be able to cover both of ours. Because look at it.
And what about me?
Well, that's older, right?
Is my older voice that the same as my pa voice? Come on, bro. I'm trying here.
Sorry. The reason why I was saying that because Oda. Yeah. Oda. I'm gonna give you this.
Well, that's pa.
Hands over the shot.
That's pa.
I know. I'm gonna get.
What about
I'm gonna get
me?
the pa. I'm gonna get.
What about me?
Hang on, pa. All right, Oda. I want you to have this in order to stop giving me slack about the whole thing. And she gives him the shotgun that she bought early on, and a few of her shells as well. And for Paul, she's gonna. Yeah, it's Oda. Yeah, it's Oda.
That's the sort of one, right?
I think
or did
it's
you get the regular? You're the one who got the regular shotgun.
Yeah, the regular one. Yeah, the regular.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, I think I used the shown off one.
It's okay. Continue.
Early on.
Showing the sheep shotgun. Gotcha. Continue.
Yeah. Pa, I want you to rest. Don't worry. Yeah, rest. You deserve it. You've been through a hell of a lot, and even though it was out of my control, it feels like I should have been here to help out. So you rest.
Now, little Lula, you know I can't sleep easy knowing that things ain't right around here.
All right. If that's the case, I'll respect that, and I'll wake you up and Oda and I go to bed at the very least. So it'll be John, Aslan, and yourself on the second watch up until morning. Is that okay, everyone?
Sounds good to me.
Right. Okay. The night ticks along. You guys set your perimeter
Lanterns.
of lanterns
Yeah.
and create your, area that's illuminated. The first watch. Would you guys like to please roll a active perception check for me, please?
Sure thing. Perception. Active perception.
Right.
Got it.
Just started raining like hell here.
So I don't know if you heard us, but the plan was that we were going to set up lanterns at the corners of each of the houses, and then at the corners of each of the fields.
Yeah.
And then one at the well. All right, cool.
Yeah. No, I got that. That's what I was saying. The area that you have illuminated. That's what I've currently described it as. You marked it on the map, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. No, but like there. Well, there. Is everyone looking?
Can't mark it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I understand where they are.
Okay.
The
Lula,
area that is
Lula rolled,
current.
No.
Sorry.
Lula,
9.
Lula rolled a 9.
Okay.
And John gets a 8. Dagnabbit.
Keep an eye out. What are you talking about as the night ticks along?
John would say, I'm worried about Grendel. Forgot I was supposed to contact him last night. I think I might as well do it now. Make sure he's okay. God, I hope he's okay. Do you mind, Lula?
Yeah, sure thing. Go ahead, John. Oda and I are just gonna continue keeping watch, and then Luna continues speaking to Oda about cool stuff that she's been up to and been doing.
John will go in Chotavan Ekut Sama. And then he would target Grendel. And in his watery, echoey voice, he would say, Grendel, this is John Morello. We're here at the ranch. Where are you? Are you okay? Do you need help?
Yo, Morello. We've been in Tenton. I've been trying to find the ranch. I've been to this ranch, and they said they were the Whitestone family. I've been to this ranch.
And so, all right, I guess John's gonna save his other spell slot just in case.
Enticing you to waste your spell slots on more sendings. Is it worth fucking up the next combat? You never know.
and then he's gonna try and he's just gonna chill and try and get a short rest in before the next one. But
that's why your perception check is so low, is because you're trying to get that short rest and just saying.
Yeah. True.
Wait, Nick, what did Oda roll for perception?
A 6.
Wow. Okay. So
6, 8, 9. Dude.
Yeah. So Luna's also distracting Oda by telling her the stories that she's been on. And then I fought a really big guy in an arena, and I won. Sure, I didn't win by like fair sportsman means. I mean, I kicked him in the junk. You know how that feels, right?
You would done that to me enough.
Hey, got that right, brother. And so I won, and I felt pretty good about it. But that's not even the best thing. I managed to fight so many creatures out there that would make you, it would scare you white. Turn.
I'm already pretty pale.
It's a figure of speech I heard from somebody. somebody somewhere along the way. It basically means that you'll be really scared, and you'll drain all the blood from the face and your body to make you look like ghost like, really scared. Like I learned quite a few things on the travels.
He looks back at you confused in ginger. Sorry if you guys can hear stuff. I live above a bar and it's kind of loud tonight.
We can.
We can't hear a thing, to be honest.
I can see like the green thing illuminating up every once in a while, and it's not because of noise that I'm making.
I don't hear it at all.
Okay, good.
No, Oda, it's because Luna tries to explain some more.
I don't understand. Yuck. But you guys can leave it for the second shift. Pa is passed out, deep asleep and snoring in his armchair in the corner where he likes to occasionally read whatever he can get his hands on. And he's currently there. Snoring up like a monster, like some titan rumbling deep from underground in the way that only fathers can snore.
Lula attempts to wake him up, not by rocking him, because that won't do much, but like tapping him on the shoulder. Pa?
Lula, it's my turn to take watch already.
Yeah, but it's your turn. Nothing much happened, which is good, so yeah, I feel.
He gets up and you see him like put the shotgun on his shoulder. And while it's on his shoulder, he lets go of it on the top, grabs the pot that's on his shoulder, and then just and then grabs the handle again. Whoa. Better get to it then. And he like sleepily, grumbly walks towards where his watch position is.
Yeah, who wakes up as man? Want to do it, John?
Are we rolling an actor perception check?
No, to wake up Aslan.
Yeah, just.
Are you gonna wake up Aslan? Do you want Lula to do it?
I think Lula should do it, right? Because John has no reason to leave his.
Yeah. John's upstairs. Yep. Lula, how are you waking up Aslan?
Lula ponders, thinking about cats and how to wake them up. But she realizes she doesn't really like cats and doesn't even know much about cats. So she creeps up towards Aslan and like puts a hand on his head and slowly like shakes the head. Now, not too erratically to startle him, but like come on, prod him out of his dreamlike state and say, Aslan, time to wake up, big guy.
As soon as Lula puts her hand on Aslan, he jumps up to his feet. And he's like,
Lula gets startled after her ass. Oh.
Is it time to fight?
Not yet. It's time to be on watch. Hopefully it won't be a fight, big guy.
Okay. He points at his armor that was just laying on the floor. Help me in?
Sure. Lula goes towards the armor and helps the big guy dress up.
He goes and takes his watch.
Active perception checks again, please. Pa is out there. And you notice the big black bags underneath his eyes. It's been a couple days that he's been doing this job alone. But he does seem grateful to have the company. His tiredness doesn't help him, and he falls asleep standing against the wall with a 7 on his active perception.
Yeah. John also got a 7. So John's preoccupied writing in his booklet, trying to figure out everything that's.
Shoot.
Aslan got 22.
Oh, customs cost me 22. She said that she 22. We in room 222. Rick Ross. So, Aslan looks across the small paddocked area. And first thing you hear, which slightly strikes you as off, gets your feline senses tingling, has the hair on your haunches standing on end, is the sound from the barn, which has been the skinker, every once in a while, the slight hiss a little bit, They've, for the most part, been sleeping. They're, cold-blooded animals. At nighttime, the sun's gone, the heat's gone. They're not so interested. Suddenly, you hear a little bit of a raise of commotion from the barn where the skinkers are stored. Suddenly, you hear the escalators. A couple of them hiss off at each other. Seems to quiet down for a moment. As it quiets down for a moment, you do see something. You see an individual figure just on the edge of the lamplight, very cautious, very aware of the shadow that is cast, and seeming to sneak just on the edge of it. They break, making their way through. Can I get off your phone? This is such a dramatic moment. I know that John didn't notice anything.
No, I'm writing in the journal.
Oh, you're writing in the okay.
Sorry, I should have. I don't have a booklet here.
You don't have a little black journal? You should have.
I left it in my car. My waiter's journal.
And just on the edge of the darkness, you notice this figure start to creep, moving in towards the paddock. Then you lose the figure for a second. But you're quick. You notice it. On top of it, you see the footsteps moving. You see the figure jump over the edge of the thing. You notice them walking along the edge of the path. You notice them make their way near the well. And that's where I think I'm going to end the session.
Oh.
Damn, I was about to roll for initiative here.
And if you enjoyed that, then please don't hesitate to leave us a follow. We're trying to get Twitch affiliated. We are only 15 followers away. So please help us. Please, our patron of the we are warlocks of the algorithm, and our patron demands your likes and follows. Until next week, if you've enjoyed, we'll see you same time, same place. I hope you get natural 20s on all of your rolls. The best luck on all your future quests.
See you in a week. You're on Questing Quill.
Arrivederci.
Bum, bum, bum.